Right. Good morning, everyone. So glad to be here in Seoul. So really excited to kind of like share what we've been like exploring and searching about. So today's talk is about Bitcoin beyond gold, unlocking the 1 trillion market for like a billion users. Next. Okay. So first of all, my name is Riqi, the founder of Rice Blue, and also Paras, which is the leading NFT marketplace on Near. Also part of the Near Digital Collective as one of the trustees. Let's move on. So like, why should we care about Bitcoin? So that's kind of like the big why. So for me, like, because obviously the Bitcoin is a $1 trillion behemoth. Bitcoin is huge. There's a lot of liquidity. And it's actually held as the digital gold, in which have a lot of similarities with what real gold is all about. It has this kind of like scarcities and also this valuable assets for Bitcoin. And lastly, because it is somewhat legal, I'll say with approval of ETF and its integration with traditional finance means that, well, there might be a lot of adoptions later on throughout the years. So it's kind of like the first why should we care about Bitcoin. The second is that for me, Bitcoin is actually the face of cryptos. And the first one, Bitcoin is well recognized. Like, for example, like a lot of people know Bitcoins than cryptos. That's like for sure. It is the original, the oldest, and the longest running blockchains that ever lived in the world, which leads to these things that I call Bitcoin dominance effect, in which if Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up, like the whole market, it brings the whole market. But if Bitcoin goes down, then everything goes down as well. And that's actually very scary, in which if somehow, God forbid, Bitcoin fails, then probably all of us will fail. Because Bitcoin is actually the face of cryptos, because like when people see what happened with Bitcoins, that's kind of like a representation of what happens with cryptos. So, but then, the other part is that if Bitcoin success, then obviously all of us will have brighter futures, and we're going to have a kind of like very future ahead. So what Bitcoin can actually do? So Bitcoin is actually the path for a billion users. So that's like my take for Bitcoin. And so how does it work? Bitcoin is kind of like the face of crypto. It is becoming the standard and benchmark of whatever happens within our space. Like a lot of people, when they think about Bitcoin, it's store of values, it's a way to invest and trade. But that is actually what happens inside a lot of people's mind. And that actually makes kind of like representation of what our industry is all about. So what if somehow we can add more use cases for Bitcoin, then probably the public perspective about cryptos will also be changed as well. It's not going to be just an investment. It's not going to be all about tradings and Jennings, but it's about use cases and also utilities for us across the board. So the idea is to make sure Bitcoin is more than just store of values. So by expanding Bitcoin's capabilities beyond just store of values, we can unlock its full potential as a medium of transactions and platforms. It also paves the way for Bitcoin to not just store wealth, but also part of our daily life. But the problem, obviously, Bitcoin is not programmable, and it's also not scalable. 10-minute transactions per block, it's very, very long. So how to make it scalable, programmable for everyday use? The answer is obviously chain abstraction. So enter chain abstraction. It is a new movement, just like Ilya mentioned earlier, which is kind of like allows a seamless interaction between the users into any chains across industry, including the non-programmable chains like Bitcoin. Imagine you can do a lot of things with your Dogecoins, with your Litecoin, with your Bitcoin, with any coins across the whole industry. So for us, at Rice Blue, our vision is to be the Bitcoin super app, in which we leverage chain abstractions to the most, so that any dApps, any chains, any VMs, anything on the cryptos can use Bitcoin as gas fees and medium for transactions, and kind of like in a single unified interface. So let me, so I have like a little demo here. So this kind of like how we're building this a single unified interface for Bitcoin as a super dApp. So the first one, we have Alice. Wait, is it? Okay. So the first one, Alice. Alice.nis lives natively on here, in which she can generate a new Bitcoin address directly with MPC. So Alice copied the Bitcoin address, and with Alice.bitcoin, which lives on the expert wallet, she can transfer any Bitcoin directly into this Bitcoin address that is generated on the near MPC. So transferring 0 point something, $15 worth of Bitcoin, bear in mind that it takes like 10 minutes to be able to kind of like receive on the Alice side. But not only that, Alice can also deposit ordinals, not just Bitcoin. So I have this like awesome ordinals here in which that you can send directly from Access wallet into like alice.is Bitcoin address, and that's going to be a one-time use of the Bitcoin address. And let's wait like a couple minutes. It takes like a long time, but just cut it out like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But once it's done, like Alice can claim the Bitcoin and make the mirror versions of the Bitcoin directly on Near protocol on IceBlue. But not only Bitcoin, but also inscription as well. Once it is live on the Near network, Alice can send it to bob.is, which is like a native Near account as well. And it's going to be like very, very cheap, very, very fast. It takes like 5 seconds for confirmation times. And then voila, Alice can send transfer tokens, but also ordinals as well into Bob account. This is very simple. It doesn't need $15 to transfer your ordinals. It can add more and more use cases to your ordinals. We can do ordinal stakings. We can do a lot of other things, NFT lendings and whatnot. And once it is received on the Bob side, and somehow Bob want to withdraw his ordinal, like the specific ordinals, like Bob wanted to kind of like withdraw it into his own, like bob.btc account, which is live on Xverse wallet. And like he can actually do that. So like ordinals, ID successfully kind of like withdrawn. Just wait a couple minutes, might take 10 minutes or something. I just cut it out, like receiving the ordinals and receive. So yeah, Bob actually can withdraw, doing pack in, pack out any assets on Bitcoin into Near with chain abstractions very easily. And that's kind of like what we are building, and that's going to be like a lot of use cases for Bitcoin, for any coins across the board. That's pretty much a glimpse of the future with Bitcoin and chain abstraction. This is kind of like what we envision the kind of like the user experience from the end user. So the users just need to deposit their Bitcoin into each abstraction layer, which utilize Near protocol chain abstraction technology, in which they can use anything, any assets, anything on top of the on top of the apps across the industry. And yeah, I think last but not least, this is kind of like the idea, and also one of the my favorite movie of all time, Ready Player One. Like the Oasis credit was the coin of the realm, and in these dark times, one of the world's most stable currencies, valued more in dollars, pound, yens, and so on. So that's kind of like how like I see Bitcoin. Bitcoin is gonna be the coin of the realms, the coin of the world. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. There's going to be like a lot of stuff that's happening in this year. Very bullish with chain abstraction. So after this after this speaking sessions, there's going to be like follow-up discussions about the Bitcoin, scaling Bitcoins and whatnot. But before that, I'm very proud to kind of like share like this new introduction video about IceBlue, what we are building, what we are capable of. So hope you guys enjoy this, and thank you so much.